Last week I asked what the difference between Ollie being a villain protagonist in Season 1 and being a vigilante or even superhero was. This week, Artemis asked the same question for me in a slightly different way. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Green Arrow, Episode 7, named Vigilante. And you know what? The hypocrisy of the Arrow team never ceases to amaze me. When is it okay to kill, when isn't it? And let's be honest, we're not talking about characters who are like the big godlike characters. We're talking about normal human beings that have more in common with the police or special forces. And there are rules about when police or special forces can take a life. And they're understandable. And once you go into the superpowered, even if it's just better than normal training superpowered, I understand that you need to ratchet up those rules. But we need to know what the rules are, and this show seems to bend them a lot. Then again, this isn't the first time we've had Oliver tell someone, do what I say, not what I do. But I have to ask, what do you all think about this? Is there a difference between a hero and a vigilante? And at the end of the day, do you care? Is the distinction one without a difference? I don't know. There's part of me that says that this is one of those themes that we've seen reoccur so often through Flash and Arrow that it's even starting to pop up on Supergirl. Maybe it's something we should be talking about in the Berlantiverse overall. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. So next week there's no Arrow, but in 2 weeks there is the 100th episode, which is a big milestone for the show and is also part of the 4-night crossover. It is entitled Invasion. The whole crossover is based on the comic book entitled Invasion, and this is all stuff we can go over in 2 weeks if I don't do a bonus video next week. However, I just want to point out the fact that nothing so far in Arrow this season is really pointing towards or leading up to it. So I'm a little on the disappointed side, because yes, there was a big reveal tonight, but it had nothing to do with what's going to come in the very next episode. But back to talking about tonight's episode. The Vigilante had some cool tricks up his sleeve. I especially liked the explosion set to go off if you tried to unmask him. I'm not entirely sure how he got free of that trick arrow that had him tied down, and I'm still feeling a little meh about the fact that Mr. Terrific seems to get the worst end of the stick at every fight. But all in all, it really goes to show exactly where the big divide is on Team Arrow. But I'm not going to harp on the Vigilante hero line too much, since I did before the spoiler warning. So what I'm going to talk about is the fact that last week I said Quentin Lance was Prometheus, and I guess now we know that he was just set up to look like he was going to be Prometheus. It's a pretty good trick for a screenwriter, except for it's kind of annoying when, oh, here you go, but oh, wait, no, here it's not. Right away at the beginning of the next episode, we undo the big cliffhanger ending. But I can live with that, because it was a good arc for Quentin, and it has some pretty good moments. The big reveal, of course, at the end of the episode is who's working with Prometheus, and that's our girl Artemis. I do wonder if that means that it's really Deathstroke under that hood. I wonder if this is their version of Tara and the betrayal of the Titans. If so, then I have to hand it to them. They did some really great jobs setting up some false leads. For a little while I thought it was Felicity's new boyfriend. I really have been driving at the fact that it had to do with the list of names, because of what Prometheus' origin in the comic books was. If this all turns out to be the return of Deathstroke, it was one hell of a mystery. And what do you think the rest of Team Arrow is going to think about this betrayal? Is this going to be enough to shake the team down to its base point? Is this enough to just break up the entire team? Will we be back to just lone Arrow Hunter Ollie at the end of this? God, I hope not, because then they're just going to start rebuilding the team again. All in all, this was a good episode because it was all about perception, and all about who's on the right side depends on how you look at it. And, of course, we have the flashbacks that are playing with that, with the Bratva not being as trustworthy. Gee, who would think a criminal organization wasn't trustworthy? And we have the fact that Vigilante doesn't like the way the Arrow goes about things, and Arrow doesn't like the way Vigilante goes about things, because hypocrisy. And then we have the fact that Diggle couldn't go to the party, but the party could come to him, because when you look at a problem from a different angle, sometimes it works out better. And of course, all of that is because the big perception twist is Artemis, and Artemis is betraying the team. But like I said at the beginning, next week there's no Arrow, and the week after is the 100th episode, which is a huge milestone, the crossover of all 4 shows. So if you're going to continue to follow this, in 2 weeks you need to watch Supergirl, Flash, come back here for Arrow, and then finish up on Legends of Tomorrow. I'll be doing recaps and reviews, and I'm going to go a little more in depth 2 weeks, just to make sure that if you don't watch an episode, you can use me to catch up in the meantime. So if you're a fan of the Berlantiverse or just want to hear more of my insane theories, now's the time to subscribe, click that like button, and tell me what you think in the comments, because we're going to push forward and we're going to take a look at what all of the shows look like, along with several other things that we do throughout the week. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.